All right, we're ready to go. I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 11th, 2017 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. And if everyone would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone. We're not used to such big crowds, but it's good to see everybody here. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Vice President Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis, our County Administrator Farzan Ahmed, and our clerk today is Sarah DeNova. So with that, we can start.
Resolution number 17-487, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held May 8th, 2017.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Vote.
Vote on motion 17-487. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment today, and we're going to have a little bit of a change in our agenda.
Yes, we're going to change the order a little bit. Oh, we're going to move item number 10 up to next, and that is, I guess we don't actually have a resolution for this, do we?
No, we do not. Jeffrey Hunter, with a lot of acronyms afterwards, Chief Medical Officer and Vice President of Medical Affairs of Molina Healthcare of Ohio Incorporated, with a presentation.
And I'd just like to welcome Dr. Hunter and Molina Healthcare here today. And I know we have been chosen to do a pilot project, and the doctor will explain a little bit about what Molina will be doing with many of our good people from our sheriff's office, from our jails, from our mental health recovery board, and several others. And they'll be going into a meeting after Dr. Molina is done. So thanks so much. Are you Deidre? Oh, thanks. Hi, Deidre. Deidre and I have been communicating to set this up, but we really appreciate your being here today, Doctor.
Yeah, we thought we'd change the agenda order because your presentation, I think, starts at 9:45.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and we thought we'd let you guys get started.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for having us here. I did want to recognize I've got Dr. Lauer, who's our Director of Behavioral Health, Anita Patel, Director of Healthcare Services, Deidre Palmer, who's our Manager of Healthcare Services, Katie Smith is Government Contract Specialist, and last but certainly not least, we have Cindy Young, who's our Associate Vice President for Community Engagement. So we're all in, so to speak.
Yes. Great, thank you.
Molina, just to give you a real quick overview, is one of the 5 managed care organizations under contract to the Ohio Department of Medicaid, as the governor has expanded more of the services from fee-for-service over to managed care. We cover all 88 counties in Ohio, and what really piqued our interest here is a mutual friend, retired Justice Evelyn Stratton of the Ohio Supreme Court, and she's spearheading the Stepping Up initiative, and I have a particular interest in that. I'm not only the CMO of Molina of Ohio, I've also been a police officer myself for 20 years, and also have a close family member that suffers from a serious mental illness. So this hits near and dear to me, and I think we're very committed to that. Molina is committed to providing care to those that are disadvantaged, who otherwise would fall through the cracks, so to speak. I think we all know that the de facto mental health institutions now are the jails. And I know you're involved in the Stepping Up, you're committed to that. And that's what we see this as an extension of this Stepping Up program. We know that inmates come in, they lacked proper care before they come in, and that may contribute to their recidivism. That's something that we would hope to address. Once an inmate leaves, what's that transition like? Is there a good transition? Do they transition for their medical and mental health care back to the community? Are those connections made? Is there a follow-through? And that's the sort of thing that we would hope to remedy, and therefore, in the end, decrease recidivism and get people the help they need. We know that these are what I think it's 2 to 3 times longer the stay in jails with people with mental health issues, and it's just a phenomenal problem in Ohio. You've got I think it's almost 11,000 people just in Ohio prisons alone diagnosed with mental illness. So I see this as something that would be mutually beneficial to the community, certainly with our mission, and I think that this is something that both the Sheriff's Office and commissioners, people of Delaware would welcome. I think also I'd like Deidre to say a few words just to give you an idea of our experience within this area, because we have worked with the state on their pre-release program. So similar population, but it's certainly different in that you're looking at longer incarcerations, and this will be one of our challenges here, is because when you have somebody in for a matter of weeks in jail and then boom, they're out, and before you know it, they're back in again, that's different, obviously, than a prison setting. So, Deidre, if you want to.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Hunter. So, a big piece of helping inmates transition back into the community after they've been incarcerated, from a managed care plan perspective, would be through a care management program. So basically, the short of a care management program is to really focus on improving the health outcomes of our members, and we try to do that by minimizing or eliminating barriers to care. Also, a big piece of that actually is to collaborate with providers, making sure that they have access to care. A big piece of the program is to make sure that we advocate for our members in our care management program to make sure that they have access, receiving the right care at the right time. Also, if they have perhaps any maybe other types of barriers such as transportation, even understanding what their illnesses are is a big piece of our program to help them understand their illness, how to self-manage. Perhaps, that could include taking their medications on time, obviously seeing their doctors regularly so that they're not utilizing the ERs as much. Sometimes, that's kind of their go-to. I'll just go to the ER to get the help that I need, instead of really being a little bit more proactive through preventative care. So that kind of sets the stage for how we approach our members that participate in the pre-release program. So as Dr. Hunter said, the pre-release program, as it is now, is at the state level. So it is for those who are coming out of state prisons. But the way that the program is set up, that they're able to apply for Medicaid benefits roughly, I would say about 3 to 4 months prior to their scheduled release. They have an opportunity to pick one of the 5 managed care plans. They will also be linked with a care manager and have an opportunity to interface through an in-reach process, actually, through video conferencing with that particular care manager who will help them set up appointments with providers. Perhaps if there's other types of needs that are identified, again, such as transportation, sometimes clothing is a big one for people coming out. You know, they do need clothing and perhaps resources for food, so we'll set all of that up through what we call a transition plan. That plan is actually provided to the members through the prison, you know, prior to them being released, so they have that information once they're released, and then they can, you know, follow up after they've been released from the prison. But it doesn't stop there. You know, the care manager will continue to follow up with them to make sure that perhaps, you know, those appointments went successful, to see if there's any additional care coordination needs that they may have. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the program. So as Dr. Hunter said, you know, we are very much interested in collaborating with Delaware County to see how we can perhaps help the citizens returning back to the county to see if we could, you know, collaborate in something very similar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
I know we have Sheriff Martin here. We have David Dombrowski, head of our JFS. Sheriff, would you like to add anything?
No, I think, Commissioner, under your...
Oh, sure.
You come up here.
Sorry, Russ.
Sorry. Yeah, so we're on...
It's hard to tell the sheriff what to do.
Yeah, yes, right. Audio, video.
Candid camera.
Candid camera, yes.
Well, thank you. Commissioner Lewis, under your leadership and direction, we've had a great partnership in moving forward with the Stepping Up initiative here. I regret to report that our subject matter expert, who's kind of our Stepping Up coordinator in this county, has just been involved in a minor car crash, and she's okay.
Yeah, she's okay.
But we'll be filling her in later. And but I think we're excited about the opportunity and anxious to hear more about you know, how we can partner. And you know, we just had a meeting the other day with Mr. Hedge in trying to look at best practices for bridging those people that are getting some services in our jail and then transition them out, making sure that care is continuing to be provided for them to help them assimilate into our society. And of course, we all know we've had some great things going on in this community in partnership with our faith-based community, the opening of the Unity House here just last weekend. So a lot of good things going on in Delaware County. I think Melina will find us more than willing to take a look in earnest of what you provide and how it might continue to help our population, which ultimately hoping to improve quality of life. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And what we were planning on doing is having you adjourn with interested parties we've got a meeting room right behind us there, and there's plenty of room there. So hopefully, I know Cassie, was in an accident, but she said she's all right and she'll be late to the meeting, which sounds like typical Cassie.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing gets in her way. She's just an amazing person. I know, Deidre, you've been in contact with her a lot, too. So, but we do have the key people still here, so we'll be able to coordinate. And anything I can do, too, I'm going to stay here for, I think, a few more minutes as we get through our agenda. And if you need me, you know where I am. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to see so many people engaged in this process, and we'll work to make things better. A lot of good people working on this. So, thank you.
Prosecutor.
Yeah, the prosecutor's here.
Prosecutor.
Yeah, there's one way to clear a room.
Great. Good.
You guys are over here by yourselves. They were here for you, huh?
Right, yeah.
All right. I was going to say, I didn't... So we want to Okay. The honoree is on his way. So I think we'll wait a little bit and we'll move on down the agenda.
Okay. That moves us to item number 5, resolution number 17-488, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants with batch number CMA PR 0510.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-489. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
And I misspoke. That was resolution number 488. Resolution number 17-489, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-489. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-490, in the matter of changing the location and time of Commissioner session for the Monday, September 18, 2017, to 10 a.m. at the Delaware County Fairgrounds, staged by the Coliseum.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
I just make a comment. This is something we do long-standing every year, is have our session at the
The Monday session at the fair?
Something that we want to continue doing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Get to see everybody and see all the chickens and cows and pigs and everything. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. So we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-490. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-491, in the matter of canceling the Commissioner session for Thursday, September 21st, 2017.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-491. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-492, resolution determining the sufficiency of the petition for the establishment of the Evan Farms NCA as a new community authority and setting a date for a public hearing under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-492. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-493, in the matter of a new stock request from Delaware Ashley Drive-Thru Incorporated and forwarding to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with no objections and no request for a hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-493. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
I keep looking around to make sure he didn't pop in. Resolution number 17-494, in the matter of approving a supplemental appropriation for the county recorder.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? We have our county recorder here.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yes. So essentially,
You could identify yourself, please, for the
Melissa Gordon,
record.
County Recorder. This is going toward a contract to improve access of records and preserve historical records in our office, something that has been needing to happen for a long time. The appropriation will move money from our own self-generating technology fund to our operating budget for the year. And I was telling Farzan earlier that I've appreciated the thoughtful commentary and questions, because it's always helpful to be able to have a dialogue about why we're doing something and improve awareness about our office. But I'm also available for any questions that you might have right now.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this earlier, and I appreciate you at least trying to see if Chris Shaw's group could provide this expertise or software, but it just wasn't a fit. So again, we're always looking for ways to improve efficiency and, you leverage our expertise when we can. So again, appreciate you working on that. I think this is all pre-1990 records?
It will.
Or not all, but...
Well, it'll go all the way back. It'll provide online access to all historical records, but the second part of it is that we're protecting those hard copies in electronic format, because right now, if that building, God forbid, goes up in smoke, those records are gone. So there will also be logic built into the search. It'll be compatible with our current search system. It'll be called basically a historical search, but there will be logic built into it, so you're not doing a search like you would be necessarily in the books. You can literally click on a name or a grantee-grantor and go to that page. So it's going to be easier than looking through the books. It's not going to be the same as a currently indexed search that you would do with a document that just came over our counter, but it will be very useful, I think, and it will provide access to people who can't come in and look through our books to do a search.
Yeah, it really seemed to make a lot of sense.
Will this update all of the records going back or just a portion of
We're
it?
not updating records. We're just, we're providing, basically, it'll be all the way back to the beginning, and it will provide any user on their home computer or in our office the ability to search those electronically. But it would be like you're doing a book search, because you're going to have to go to the index and then go to the appropriate name, versus a search now where a document coming right over the counter, you can search in, my last name Jordan, and you can find a document or an image. So it's going to be a separate type of search, but it will go all the way back to the beginning of the county with the first document ever filed.
Good. Yeah, it sounds like a very worthwhile effort, so
Okay.
should be very helpful to the users,
Right.
which is great.
That's the goal, so I appreciate
Okay.
that.
All right.
Thank you.
Vote.
Vote on motion 17-494. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. We'll see
Thank you.
Resolution number 17-495, in the matter of approving the First Amendment to the contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Sheriff, and ABL Management Incorporated, known as Summit Food Service, LLC.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Good morning. I'm Major Jeff Balzer with the Sheriff's Office. What we're proposing is an extension of 1 year of the contract with the current food provider for the Delaware County Jail.
No questions?
Good. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-495. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-496, in the matter of approving an agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Sheriff, and Inmate Calling Solutions, LLC, doing business as ICS Solutions for Delaware County Jail.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This would be a change of providers. We currently have another provider for the inmate telephone service, and we've shopped around. Although it's not public funds we're using, we did review all proposals to make sure we're getting the best value, not only for the county, but also for the families and friends of the inmates who are calling. We believe this new vendor is going to help us achieve both of those goals. Part of it will be increased customer service. We've had very good reviews from other sheriff's offices throughout the state. Also, the convenience. One of the things we're going to be able to offer now is video visitation from remote locations. So, for example, if someone's out of state and has a loved one who's arrested here and confined in Delaware County, they'll be able to have video visitation to actually see them now. The new company will be providing a payphone in the lobby, which is free for local calls. It's amazing, something little like that all the time. Our people are literally handing their cell phones to people and let them use them to make calls, so that'll be a big bonus. But I think this is a good merger. We're going to also, the vendor we have with commissary is related to this vendor, so they're going to install kiosks in the housing areas so they can do a lot of the ordering online, and we can also post all of our policies and things online so they can see those too, the ones related to the inmates. That'll be much better than taping them up to the windows that we have right now.
So it is a new vendor then?
It is a new vendor, IC Solutions.
Okay.
The only comment I have is 2-3 years ago, I had a complaint from someone who had an inmate at the jail and complained about the exorbitant fees they were being charged to make a call. I guess it was a long-distance call.
Yes.
And as it was relayed to me, it sounded exorbitant. So this addresses that issue as well.
It does, and actually the FCC initiated some changes last fall in October. They created maximum amounts to be charged, which I think is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so all the vendors, including this vendor, have to follow those.
But the impression I had from that phone conversation was they were being taken advantage of, the inmates, and they didn't have a lot of alternatives.
You're right. Another way of looking at it, no pun intended, is it's a captive audience, and they have no other option. So I think the charges, while the basic is 25 cents a minute for a local call, that still may seem expensive, but there are obviously costs involved in that. So I think it's been greatly reduced from what it was in the past.
Good. Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-496. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Resolution number 17-497, in the matter of approving change order 007 to the construction manager contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Lynn Lease Construction Incorporated for the Sandusky Street Courthouse and related parking facility.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning. John Melvin, Director of Facility. We have the next batch of change orders ready for your approval for the project. As you may know, we have a mix of credits for value engineering, some zero-cost changes, and some adds. The overall increase for this change order is $83,821. Gary Rutledge with Lend-Lease and Sean Simon with Silling Architects are both here to help answer any questions you may have about these.
A lot of these changes we've initiated, is that?
Yes, Commissioner, if I may add something to what Director Melvin has said. We sent an explanation yesterday that Director Melvin prepared showing the reasons, and the additions can be due to things that may have been missed in the original document but were necessary to complete the project, or something that the owner added. An example of that would be there's a boiler room up on the roof and it was too small, and we wanted to increase the size of it so that it's easier for the maintenance and safer for the maintenance people. So that would be an example of an addition. A subtraction could be something that during the design or construction we thought we could do without, or if either the architect or the contractor came up with an alternate design to save money. So that would fall under the value engineering part.
I think one of the issues was the elevators.
We did have an error in the drawings with the elevator as far as electrical requirements to that elevator.
Are you looking for some, I'm looking for the right word, it sounds
the architect, yeah, we're still working on the detailed pricing on that as far as working out the responsibility the architect has for the rework, anything that was reworked, but anything that was added to the design that benefits the county. Obviously, we're responsible for that add.
But obviously, it's a issue that I don't think it's our responsibility.
Right, and the architect has recognized that. So it did cause some rework to be done, and we're working on that detailed pricing.
I want to make that statement, so
yes.
Everybody understood it.
Yeah, again, as we're drawing to a close on the construction of this, change order, this magnitude is not obviously a huge burden at this point, but the one item was the error on the elevator design. So, I guess I would echo Commissioner Merrill's comments that we need to look at the reimbursement on that particular piece. And again, $83,000 on a $38 million project this near the end is not a huge hit to us, but
I do want to note, we are still working through some additional change order requests, still working out those pricings. Again, another mix of some added value and some other credits and some value engineering. So we're still working through several other change order requests. We still are, previously we had executed, change order 5 and 6, which gave us about a $400,000 credit from the original GMP. So we're still about $310,000 under our original GMP pricing. So,
right. Yeah, overall cost seems to be in line. Mm-hmm. How about timeline? You knew I was going to ask.
They still have a scheduled projecting completion date of July 31st.
Okay.
So,
you turned around and looked at it and you answered it for him.
I turned around, he can provide the details of that.
Yeah. As Gary Rutledge, Project Executive, Lend-Lease. As John said, we are fast closing on our July 31st timeline, and looking at doing that and meeting that schedule very much so.
Good.
Great.
Good.
There's still a lot of work to do from visually looking outside.
There are a lot of people working. There is still a lot of work to do.
Sure.
There's a lot of focus on the inside. There's still some work on the outside, obviously, that was weather affected. We can't do some of that work when it's below 40 degrees. And we've had an up and down roller coaster year this year. So we are anxious for this to get to be typical May weather, where it is more sunny and warm. I do want to tell you, I'm very proud of the fact that we are still incident and accident free. We have not had any injuries on the job. We have not had any accidents on the job, which is a focus of our company all the time, and doing our daily orientations with everybody and safety orientations and making sure that everybody's working safely. And your staff and the architect staff are as well cognizant of that and looking out for safety incidents and things that may occur that are helping us to enforce that. So it's a team effort all the way around.
Good.
Yeah, I know the first year there'll be a checklist of this needs to be done and that needs to be done. Are you involved in that year of those?
As a warranty follow-up?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully he doesn't neglect, right?
Yeah, hopefully we're looking well. Okay, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-497. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We will now go back to page 20, the first page, and do our recognition. That one. Resolution number 17-498, in the matter of approving a resolution recognizing Clyde Bud Ranabarger, the Delaware County honoree for the Central Ohio Senior Citizens Hall of Fame.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Communications Manager. We have here with us today Mr. Ranabarger and representatives from SourcePoint. They nominated him for the Central Ohio Senior Citizen Hall of Fame, which is an annual honor awarded in the area. He was their nominee this year, and perhaps somebody from your group would like to come and tell us a little bit more about Mr. Ranabarger and what he has done. And I believe Commissioner Benton will be the commissioner who accompanies you next week on the 17th for the actual ceremony down in Columbus. So, who wants to come and...
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Horrocks, Executive Director of SourcePoint. First, I want to thank you for recognizing and giving us the time to recognize Bud for the great work that he does and continues to do. He's, an opportunity to raise somebody up who's given a lot of himself and is also a great example to others about what the impact that volunteers can have here in our community. I wanted to recognize some folks that are with me today. Carissa is one half of our dynamic duo here in Chris Krause in our front row, and then beside Bud is Laura Bean. And these two ladies share one job. They work half-time in our volunteer transportation program. Actually, they are the volunteer transportation program, along, of course, with our volunteers. And so they schedule our volunteers and work with our clients to make sure everything gets coordinated. So just to give you an idea of what they do, you know that we also support data and have contracts with data, but there are many situations that occur that it's much more appropriate for the one-on-one assistance, the kind of assistance that Bud provides. And so that involves driving to somebody's home, helping them out of the house and into the car, driving them usually into Columbus to a doctor's office, waiting with them. If you're like me, I don't even like doing that for myself. Sometimes those waits can be long. And then, of course, bringing them back home. Sometimes that can take, the better part of the day. But that's the kind of commitment and passion that Bud and others in our program have for serving people. One of the things that I've always said is that as our older population grows, of course there are going to be some additional needs, but that older population is also a wonderful resource of energy and vitality and experience and wisdom. And we try to put that to work here in our community. Lots of other organizations in our community do the same, and that benefits the whole community. So we want to congratulate Bud for the great work that he does for us. He's part of that team that volunteered 60,000 hours last year for SourcePoint. And so it's an opportunity to encourage others to get off the couch and come on out and make a difference in somebody else's lives. So thanks again for the opportunity and for and for your resolution. And Jeff, I think you're going to really enjoy yourself at the Hall of Fame next week.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Does the honoree wish to say anything?
You prepare that speech?
Does the honoree want to say anything more? You don't have to. We were just teasing.
Afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me, and I've worked hard for it, I guess. I put in six and a half hours twice a week for him. And I take, and then whatever else Chris and them give me. So sometimes I'm 3, sometimes 4 times a week. So the man I take, I guess I drive about 8,000 miles in the time that I've had him. Like she said, it's about time to go to Fairbanks, Alaska, and back. So,
But is this in your own vehicle, or you drive a...
My own vehicle, yes.
That's also to be commended.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the resolution says you also volunteered over 900 hours.
Yeah.
In addition to driving 8,000 plus miles.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Oh, my gosh.
That's just great.
Yeah, I appreciate the...
Well, we're glad to do it. We thank you.
Yes.
Do we want to get a picture, Jane?
Do you want to vote first? Then have that presented?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-498. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. We have a signed resolution for you. Picture.
We'll come get a picture.
So I usually go above to get over it.
There you go. Thank you so much. Oh, my gosh.
Appreciate it.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Go ahead, have a comment. Okay.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of doing this for 3 of the 5 years I've been here, and Commissioner Benton, I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a pleasure and it's an honor, these senior citizens who go out of their way to serve and really make our county a better county to live in. And the 3 that I had the opportunity to do, and you're going to be another great addition to that. And I guess Commissioner Lewis, I believe, did it last year, I think.
Yes, and I was just amazed at, and you're a perfect example, as Bud. I mean, wow, the Energizer Bunny and spades. I mean, you just, this is really a job. I mean, it is, and it's a labor of love, and I was just amazed at how active the honorees were, and by active, I mean really active. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Good. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Okay.
Moves us to item 16 on page 34. Resolution number 17-499, in the matter of appointing a member to the Delaware County Commission and Visitors Bureau.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
We have before you, Commissioners, the resolution to appoint Amy Tillinghast as your appointee to the Convention and Visitors Bureau Board, and we recommend your approval.
Okay.
Just like to comment. We have a lot of interviews for a lot of these boards, and Amy was particularly not only enthusiastic, but qualified. I think she'll be a great addition to the Visitors Bureau.
Yeah, and she's part of Experience Columbus.
Right, which is sort of the equivalent in Franklin County to the CBD.
Which Which would be great to have that bridge and that connection to their organization with ours and Amy's expertise and enthusiasm. I did have a chance to talk to her since I missed the interview.
Oh, good.
And she's very impressive. And, so, great add to the board.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-499. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 17-500, in the matter of approving a professional services agreement with the Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for the Hyatts Road Sanitary Sewer Pump Station Preliminary Design Services Project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. The professional services agreement that we have before you is to develop a preliminary concept for that area. I know that area, it's been talked about getting sewer to for about 12 to 15 years. And so we're going to be doing the preliminary design, laying it out, and then also securing the easements along there. There's a lot of development in that area, particularly some commercial development that has interest. But, when you look at the lot size and everything, it's not something that they can take a project like this and lead. So we're going to be, and our master plan had this project in it and budgeted, so we're just kind of moving forward. And there's probably 8 developments that are in the tributary area. Actually, Evans Farm even has a piece up at the railroad tracks that's on the upside of this tributary area as well. So,
where exactly would that go, Mike? Where would the pump station go?
Well, another thing too, the county engineer is working on some intersection improvements, so we want to coordinate our efforts with their improvements as well. But it would be kind of across the 23 from Speedway. And kind of there's a little bit of a drainage tributary area that we're kind of looking at right now, but as part of this study we're going to look at different areas and secure it. So
would it provide sewer lines? The pump station, would it add sewer lines going both north and south on 23?
It will. It basically will.
On both sides of 23, I guess.
Yeah, both sides of 23 and north and south of Hyatts and Shanahan.
Yes, that's what
I mean. And it goes all the way to the railroad tracks, goes up to Peach Blow, and really kind of takes in a pretty large area. Mm-hmm. So I think it's 12 to 1,400 acres.
Trailer parks, too.
Yeah, for instance.
Trailer park.
That's in there as well.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
and that's an area that's just not very attractive, part of Delaware County. Right now, so it needs to be developed, and this will enable it. I think that's what's been holding it back all this time, is not having good sewer lines there.
Yep, I think that's the missing utility, I think, in that area. So.
Right. So. And it's long overdue.
Yes.
As you mentioned.
Yep. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-500. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-501, in the matter of approving amendment number 1 to the sanitary sewer agreement for courtyards at Bradford Court.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
The modification of the subdividers agreement is just to allow them to phase out their development differently than what they originally contemplated. That's the only revision that's in this amendment. So.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-501. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-502, in the matter of approving Extension 1 to the agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Central Ohio Contractors Incorporated for Delaware County Solid Waste Transfer Station operation, hauling, and disposal services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, we have had an agreement with Central Ohio Contractors for managing the day-to-day operations of the solid waste transfer station. In my year with the county, it's been a very seamless arrangement and with them, and we currently get 7% of their tipping fees, which is about $200,000 to $250,000 a year of revenue that we bring in. We do some permitting and some, larger oversight and things of that nature, and we're actually seeing that trend upward, and the original contract had the ability to do some annual renewals, and we just want to, I think we're on an annual renewal now, and we're just recommending another renewal of that as well.
Well, our 7% goes towards capital improvements for the facility.
And, yep, it goes to management. We have a percentage of our sewer district's management time that gets allocated there, as well as capital improvement projects. So
the performance of this agreement over the last 3 years, you're satisfied with the?
Yeah, it's been good. I think that solid waste is something that I don't have a expertise in, but I think that there's a very large need for that facility. I know the city, Farzana and I have talked. The city's had, it's a real good asset to the city, and we're actually starting to see a lot of our subcontractor there does a lot of construction debris, and as the development is picking up, so we're seeing that trend, continue up. So.
Okay.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-502. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-503, in the matter of rescinding resolution number 17-433 and approving a non-binding term sheet by and among Delaware County Columbus Outlets LLC and the Delaware County Finance Authority regarding the issuance of development revenue bonds by the Delaware County Finance Authority for public improvements in connection with the Tanker Outlets Columbus development.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I'll give you a brief explanation here, Commissioners. You are familiar with the background, so I'll skip that part. But the resolution was approved on May 1st for the county to work with our finance authority as well as Columbus Outlets to do the refinancing of their opening day improvements. The way the fees were structured in the original resolution that you approved, it puts a lot of limitations on the finance authority as to how they can use those funds. There's a mutual agreement between the county and the finance authority to have them have more of an option as to how they wish to use those funds for economic development projects within the county. So the only way to make that change is for you to rescind the original resolution and then have this new resolution today. So recommending this to you, and now if you have specific questions, I would defer to Eric and Bob, but I can answer general questions.
I think it's been explained.
Yeah.
Why.
So, okay, we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-503. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
That brings us to administrative reports.
Thank you. The sheriff is across the room, so he won't hear this, but I did want to give a shout-out to the sheriff and his staff. Last week, I had the opportunity to visit the jail, not as a resident, but as a visitor. I was actually accompanying our child support group. They were talking to several non-custodial parents who were at the prison, so it was a very good experience, very eye-opening experience. It kind of sort of breaks the typical stereotype that you might think of when it comes to the kind of work that child support people do, people who are at jail, the people who run the jail. And as far as the jail itself goes, I definitely want to give a big shout-out to the jail director and the deputy director, Jesse Jackson, who gave the tour. It is very clean, very well managed, and the staff that we met, very professional staff, so that was a good experience. Two things that I did want to report out on. The Child Support Agency is rated by the state of Ohio on 4 different performance indicators. It's paternity establishment, support establishment, current support collections, and collections of past due support. And there are these state minimum requirements that we have, and then they judge each county. Delaware County is number 1 in all 4 categories this last quarter. So huge shout out to all of our staff at the Child Support Agency.
Great.
And not to be outdone, JFS. We have a good team at JFS as well. yesterday, they were informed by the state of Ohio that the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is the SNAP program, which was once known as the food stamp program, there's an application timeliness. So the state judges the county JFS departments on the timeliness with which they process applications. And we have been hovering somewhere around 90 to 93% in timeliness. And this time, our last go around, it was at 95%. So the state wanted to recognize the county, and I wanted to recognize our county team.
Great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Good. Commissioner Lewis?
Well, tonight, Farzana and I are going to dinner honoring our foster parents. So that should be good. Glad to be able to do that. That's it.
Okay. Commissioner Merrill?
More key policy meetings this afternoon at 1:30, and to make the trek down to Columbus for that. And the foster, I kind of gave a semi-approval tonight. I said I may be able to make it, may not. So if my schedule permits, I will be there as well. But they're aware that I might not be able to make it. So with that, that's all I have.
Okay, just a couple of other things. Auditor Keitz and I have been communicating on working on a 5-year plan for the county, updating. We did it last year for the first time, and as we're working on all these other plans, economic development, transportation, the sanitary engineers plans, and so on, the capital spending plan, this 5-year plan is more important than ever to make sure that we manage our finances properly. Participated in a healthcare trends webinar yesterday, put on by SEBCO. It was actually very interesting. It was brief. It was only 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And he had a lot of material, but I assume you were on it, weren't you, Don? Yeah. It went through a lot of material, but it went through very quickly. There's some interesting, as we all would expect, there's some interesting trends in healthcare. A majority of the counties that are in SEBCO offer an HSA alternative, which I found interesting. A lot of spouse coverage options are being enacted and changed. And actually, with the HSA alternative, I know one of the concerns is adverse selection, and talked to the chief afterwards, and he said they're not seeing adverse selection. So that's encouraging, as I think we need to explore alternatives in healthcare to manage our expenses, because that's behind salaries, that's our largest expense by far. So we need to do what we can to manage it. Commissioner Merrill mentioned MORPC. We did have a DKMM meeting that
that's right.
all three of us attended Tuesday, I think it was, and it was here. And DKMM is definitely facing some challenges, some financial challenges as they deal with rapidly increasing fees that the waste haulers are charging, and they're looking at a number of alternatives.
Well, to be frank, when you have haulers that gain a monopoly, then they basically charge what they want to charge. That's unfortunate, and that's one of the things that we're having to try to deal with. And
right.
Yeah, it is. It's a real challenge. DKMM's facing it. They're doing good projections. They're looking at a number of alternatives to deal with those significant increases in fees, and we will see in the next month or two how that plays out. But there will be some changes coming, I'm sure. So anyway, with that is it for the administrative reports and commissioner reports. Now we'll go into executive session.
Correct. Resolution number 17-504, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of confidential information related to economic development.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-504. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Vinton?
Aye. We're in executive session.
Maybe I can ask Jim.